Professor Mitchell was such an inspirational professor, and he truly taught us how to think. Um, not just the theories or the math or equation, but he wanted to make sure we actually understood how soils work. And of course, he had seminal work in the area of soil behavior. And I remember in his class, he was teaching us about the Gooey-Chapman double layer, among other things. But I remember fellow grad students thought, this is the most esoteric thing that we have ever learned. Yet in that was the key to truly understanding not just what was happening, but why. And so finally understanding why clays, for example, behaved one way in one situation and another way in a different situation. And for me, I remember that as a big breakthrough in understanding. But beyond that, what also stood out is Professor Mitchell was also very practical and wanted to make sure that we went out into the world as practical, effective engineers. And he did a lot of work, of course, in ground improvement. And a lot of innovations that he brought to the profession made sites buildable. I applied that in practice and on a lot of projects, resulting in effective, resilient, economical infrastructure for the communities where we all live. And it wasn't just me, it was my colleagues that also were influenced by Professor Mitchell in one way or another. And this is just one example of his impact in the world. I'll also say, as a woman in engineering in school in the mid-80s to 90s, I was in a minority, but I never felt unsupported by the department. And in particular, I always felt so valued, recognized, and respected by Professor Mitchell. I learned an enormous amount, but what also stood out, he was also there in moments of difficulty and kind of cheered us all on. And it truly gave me the strength and perseverance I needed to finish out my engineering education and go out into the world as a practicing engineer. And here I am 30 plus years later, and I'm eternally grateful.